Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Welcome. All the Walrus fans here, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. This is the first ever FlowFam community podcast. Go ahead and drop a like on the stream. That would help us out a lot in the algorithm, help boost us up. We are joined today by a number of people. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the channels here. We have Dante, Momo, Lay, Kiryu, and we have Soul of an Artist, who is a Genshin YouTuber.
Your mother.
Who is also my mother. And yeah, we're here. We're going to be chatting about Genshin and stuff. So yeah, let's go ahead and do some introductions. Soul of an Artist. Do you want to go ahead and say anything about yourself or plug your channel?
Nah, I don't want to plug my channel. I make shitty YouTube videos, and I highly advise you not watch them. But I'm here because I was held at gunpoint. Yeah, that's my intro.
Beautiful. And next, Momo.
Hello. My name is Momo. I've been playing Genshin since September of 2021. I have a lot of opinions, and I like to talk about things.
Beautiful. And next we have Lay7.
Hey guys, it's Lay7. I'm here to chill with my bros and talk about some Genshin.
Wow. Majestic. We have Dante here as well.
Hello everyone, it's a pleasure to be here, and happy to see you all.
Hello everyone, it's Dante here.
And lastly we have Kiryu.
Hi, I manage theory crafting and flow server, and that's all I do. I do spreadsheets for fun. That tells you who I am, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect description. All right. So we are here, and this is our first podcast, so, mind us if we make any mistakes or, fumble or whatever. It's just first time, so bear with us. Another thing, chat, we will not be responding to chat during the podcast because we want to try to hit these topics, and there's a number of us here, and if we talk to you with every single topic and every single person's opinion, it's just going to take an eon to get through this, so... We will not be looking at chat.
I'm allowed to read it though, right?
Yeah, we're allowed to read chat. We're not going to respond to it directly, but we will respond to you directly at the end. We will have a 15 minute section where we will respond to chat. So if you want to shoot a super chat and ask a question, definitely save it until the end there, because we will not be directly responding at that for now. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We're going to go ahead and jump into the first topic, and I will stop talking for a little bit. We're going to do live stream reactions, like what we thought of the patch update live stream. And Soul of an Artist, if you want to go first, go for it.
Oh fuck, you picked the worst person to go first. I didn't even watch it, man, if I'm being 100% honest. All I know is Chasm's coming out. I know Chasm's coming out. I know, the artifact set's coming out, but I knew that before the update because I had a very vivid dream. But other than that, dude, I don't fucking know. You move on to someone else.
Fair enough. All right, Momo.
Yeah, I may or may not have also had a bit of a dream, unfortunately, about Zhao's upcoming artifact set. It's very exciting, gonna have something to farm for, and it's definitely gonna be fun to experiment and see how much damage you can put out and all that. And yeah, that's what I'm thinking about the set right now. Anyone else?
Yeah, about the live stream, I'm really excited to see what Iato can do mostly, because at first my dreams about him wasn't too high, but after the live stream I'm a little bit more optimistic, and he's more interesting to me now than I originally thought, and kind of looking more forward to see what he can actually do when he's released. That's my main thing in the live stream.
So, with Ayato, I thought his burst was really interesting. It reminded me a lot of Ganyu's ult. I'm excited to see what kind of synergies they have as well with other cryo teams. You know, now you can have that consistent, almost like a Xingqiu application, but like a way larger area. You know what I mean? It's not just a single target.
We don't know if it's gonna be Xingqiu's application though, right? We don't know that yet.
No,
Yeah.
I mean we don't know exactly how much. I feel like it's going to be similar to Ganyu's ult. Like it's going to have good application, but it's not going to have like a really fast application like Zinchu.
Yeah, they kind of have to make trade-offs like that. So, like where Xingqiu has really good application, it's not very like widespread at times. But I can definitely see Ayato being more of a slow application, but a wider range.
I don't think Iato is going to be the next Xingqiu like people want him to be, unless each hit of his ult automatically applies Hydro like Kokami's Jellyfish does. It's not going to be the next big thing, because yeah, you know, maybe he does apply Hydro, maybe that's good, but if it's like, you know, one tick, if it hits 3 times for one tick, then it's not going to be useful. It's not going to open up any new teams. He's definitely not going to be a new Xingqiu. But I mean, I don't know. Don't set your hopes up for a new Xingqiu, because you're just, you know, cruising for a bruising at that point.
Yeah, it's very similar to when Toma came out. Everybody thought he'd be a Pyro Xingqiu. It's like people get their hopes up way too early and way too fast. You actually have to see what the character can do when they're released instead of just guessing, because most of the time when people guess, they're usually wrong.
Yeah, I'm a little bit. I'm a little bit stuck on what exactly he's going to do. Is he mainly supposed to be there for Hydro application or something else? But on a completely side note, his normal attacks, I don't know if any of you saw those, are absolutely amazing. I love how they did that kind of like teleportation kind of animation.
Well, if I may interject here, I believe that a lot of people are hoping Ayato to be a very versatile card. They want him to be a Hydra applicator. They also expect him to be a main DPS and a support. I believe that he will have support capabilities, but I don't think he will fulfill every single role that people are hoping him to have. In my personal opinion, for what I have seen in the live stream, probably more tending to DPS, sub DPS, but just like Soul said, don't expect him to be very good at Hydra application, because I cannot see it, at the very least from what I have seen for his normal attacks. He needs to be present for them to happen properly, so maybe we should temper our expectations a little.
Well, you look at the way Mihoyo has been doing things with Inazuma, they seem like they don't want to release anything too strong, or at least now, right? Seems like we've only gotten a couple things that have rivaled the past characters, right? So I wouldn't get too hyped for Ayato, thinking he's going to be the Lord and Savior of the Hydra element, even though it's already a great element. But
that's good for me, of course.
True. But I do think he's going to be a solid character overall, and you won't be too disappointed with him. That's how I see it.
I made a video about Iato, and again, I apologize if I'm quiet or, you know, woozy sounding. He's in a very good position, just off the bat, that he's a DPS Hydro, because there's no DPS Hydro user. There's nothing you can compare him to right now. And Hydro is already such a good element because all of the best teams require Hydro, or most of the best teams, like Freeze and, you know, obviously Vape and Supercharged, or whatever the fuck it's called. So just based off that alone, he's in a very good position. It's going to be very hard for them to mess him up, but I don't think he's going to be anywhere near as good as, like, you the Jinglings, the Bennetts, the Kazuas. Like, he's not going to be that good. There's no fucking way. But again, he's in a good position. There's a very, very slim chance they fuck him up, but it is Mihoyo, so I, again, temper expectations because they usually do find something. 1 minute before release, they just remove all this crit damage or something. I don't fucking know. Mihoyo finds a way.
Yeah. So with Iato, right? I thought it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. With the other new artifact set, Echoes of an Offering, it seems to be tailored around his kit as well. And I thought it was really interesting how they added like a chance aspect to an artifact set. It's a 36% chance for him to gain like some more normal attack damage and all that. I think Mihoyo's trying to, or Hoyoverse is trying to, like, mix things up with artifacts and stuff, which is really interesting to me. Yeah, super exciting stuff.
Me personally, if I may, for me personally, I think that artifact is not to my liking. We already have a lot of RNG in this game, so if you tie RNG to an artifact set, you are literally trying to pray or get good stats, good substats, and now you're trying to pray to get a decent amount of damage based on probability. Even though the probability scales if you fail the first and second time, it can be a bit detrimental in certain situations, or at the very least, that's what I'm thinking. It could be detrimental. The more you tie to RNG, the more people will get frustrated in the long run, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, it's not enough. It's not enough now that you gamble on your substats for your artifacts. Now you gamble on your damage. And there's even a pity system.
Pity system on artifacts.
I was actually talking with one.
I agree that the artifact is probably not going to be that great, but in my personal opinion, I think currently neither of those artifacts are worth farming for unless you have Ayato and Zhao. And even if you do have, like, if you only have Zhao, that artifact set is not worth farming for, because one of them is very luck based and the other one gives you attack percent. It gives you like 66% attack. I don't know the exact number. I looked at it once, like a month ago. But it gives you attack. That's the general gist of it. But the attack it gives you is not instantaneous. If it were instantaneous, yeah, it'd be really good for Zhao. And I was telling you all this earlier. But like currently, Shiminawa is part of one of the best domains in the entire game to farm because everybody and their grandma wants to farm that set. And Vlad has been in the game since the beginning, and everybody gets it whenever they farm for a boss. So everybody has good Glad pieces, and everybody has good Shiminawa's pieces if they're been playing the game for a year, like most of us have been. So people already have that 36% attack on Zhao now. So really, you need to pick, like, do you think spending all that resin is worth getting god rolls on this new artifact set for 30% more attack? Is that really worth it, or would you rather spend that resin in another domain and get new artifacts? Because right now, it feels like there's no real way to, I don't know, just to get your resin's worth, basically, unless you already have Iato and you're farming for both, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like a direct improvement, especially considering Zhao's been out for so long, so most people that already have him have their set farmed. I don't think it's worth the resin. I don't think it's worth the time.
So, being your Mia main as well, for me, I was really looking at this with one of my IRL friends the other day, and it seems like an artifact set that if you do farm it, it's also going to benefit Yoimiya as well as Ayato, because if you look at their attack speed, they're almost guaranteed to proc it after 3 normal attacks. Like after that third one, they're pretty much guaranteed. And if not the third, they're definitely guaranteed the fourth. And they have really fast attack speed. And if you also use Yunjin with them, and if you really like Yunjin, you probably are going to use them with them. She has a C6 with attack speed boost that could really help. So I wonder if they're gearing that artifact set to have attack speed support, more attack speed added in the game in the future some way. Because if you look at it that way, it's really easy to proc that set bonus on Yoimiya and Ayato, and they might actually be able to benefit well from it. But I also agree with Soul. It's not really worth to farm that unless you have Xiao and Ayato or Xiao and Yoimiya. But I say the best thing about new Xiao players is if you, for some reason, if you don't want to farm the emblem domain, which, you know, very few people, but for some reason you don't, and you're a new Xiao player and you just got him, that domain is perfect for him, because even if you can't get the 4-piece set, you still can get a 2-piece attack, 2-piece attack.
I have
something. Hold
Go
on, this is real fast, like 20 seconds. Your point is like, you know, every 3 or 4 hits on characters with really high attack speed on their normal attacks are going to get the main benefit of that. Counterpoint: Gladiator is a 35% bonus on all normal attacks, and it's not RNG based, so you can just use that, and it's existed for longer. So chances are, if you already have a good Glad set, it has really good substats.
Yeah,
So again, why
no,
not
that's
just use Glad over that?
That's a great point. I was actually gonna say, with these new artifacts, one thing I'm noticing is that, like, people are saying, you know, hey, you could use Heart of Depth on Iato or something like that, and it's probably not gonna be too bad. Like, it really won't be, and it also might actually work pretty well for him, because like you said, it's not RNG, it's just a normal set. But these sets can be good. Like, I saw some early math, and if you have like a fully farmed Zhao with a Benny in his team and stuff like that, it's only going to be like a 7 to 10% damage increase if you get the same, like, thousands of resin. But if you run Zhao without Benny, and you don't have like a good set for him, then your Zhao would be doing like 24% more damage than like a two-piece Zhao, because of, you know, diminishing returns on attack. So there's like a niche situation where, like, if you don't have a good set for Zhao already and you're getting Iato and you want, you know what I mean? Like you said, there's a situation where you could farm it, but I think for now, for most people, it's probably not worth it.
I'm also really biased.
Yeah, I'm
also really biased because I'll take consistency any day over, you know, who cares if you hit 4 hits and your 4th hit does double damage when you can just do 35% more damage on all hits, and that's automatically more valuable. That's one of the reasons why Eula is one of my least favorite characters, is because so much of her damage is locked behind her burst, and if you don't have 100% crit rate on it, you're throwing the dice every time you use it, and if you don't get that crit, you might as well reset the damn stage, because how long it'll take to get your energy back. I always go for consistency.
Yeah, but does anyone know, is that 70% attack added to your normal damage on that new set, is that multiplicative? Is that a flat damage bonus, kind of like how Shinha and Yin? Does anyone know? Is it additive?
It's worded like a flat damage bonus, not a multiplicative bonus.
Yeah, it's worded very similarly to like Shenhe or Yunjin.
So in theory, even if it took you 4 hits, that flat damage bonus could overall make your whole rotation do more damage. But I understand what you're coming from, Soul, with consistency. Like,
it might also have diminishing return on existing damage percent if it stacks. So you also got to keep that in mind.
Talking about consistency,
is it a damage bonus or a flat damage bonus? Because those two different things.
I'm not 100% sure that I'm saying if it is.
It's an additive
damage bonus again. It's additive, then it's gonna, you know, be a diminishing return at that point.
Yeah.
We don't know 100% sure.
Talking about consistency, about the diminishing returns, and also about the fact that it depends in what stage of the game you are. That's how well you will do with this new artifact set or not. If you think about it, for example, there are certain people that have played the game for over a year, right? People like, for example, Soul. You have a very, very good Xiao build. I have seen your Xiao build, and I know that you don't struggle with energy recharge, but there might be other players that do. And the tier crafters have seen recently that if you use this new artifact set, taking away the fact that it's basically RNG based, the whole buff, you could run an energy recharge stance instead of an attack stance, and you would theoretically do the same amount of damage that you would be doing with the two-piece Shimenawa and two-piece Glaive, in theory. But that's if you don't have very good RNG. So the question would be, in what specific scenario, which people would be more inclined to farm this new domain, and what would be beneficial for them? Because unfortunately, every single scenario is different to a different account. So there's a discussion to be had when it comes to that, I believe.
The answer is simple. People who are feeling lucky. Are you feeling lucky?
Yeah.
Do you win all of your 50-50s? Do you want to throw away potential damage bonuses for inconsistent bullshit? Well, oh boy, do I have the artifact set for you.
Yeah, no,
I'm also heavily biased because I have not won a 50-50 since Ayaka. And I've wished on every banner since, so...
Ouchies.
Maybe that's why.
I think
Yeah.
this artifact set is kind of interesting because I think it's one of the first sets. I know we have a couple like this, a couple situations where you have like people that can run, you know, various sets, but usually it's for different purposes. It kind of feels like this is like a preference set. Like if you prefer that kind of play style, then yeah, go for it. But like, you know, there's no necessity to it whatsoever, and it doesn't even facilitate a different play style.
You could call it a luxury set.
I think my final verdict will be once we actually know how that 70% attack bonus is actually added on to the calculation. Like once we know that, then like that'll give me like my final verdict on how I really feel. But overall, I do agree consistency is usually gonna always be better than RNG.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanna run back really quick to what Lei and Sol were saying about Zhao's new artifact set. I definitely agree that if you already have a farmed two-piece and a farmed Viridescent for Zhao, then this artifact set really isn't worth it because of how much resin you have to put in. But for me, I really like to min-max things, get that little bit of damage, and I'm in a spot where I'm not really using my resin a ton. I have my Raiden built and all that right now, so I'm going to be getting the new artifact set for Zhao. But to close it up, yeah, definitely be smart with your resin. Like, let's say if you're, I don't know, if you pulled Raiden and she still needs a better, emblem, then you might want to hold back on the Zhao artifact set for a little bit.
Not to mention that you also have the box that transforms one artifact to another. So basically, you could get
Scam box.
Yeah, you could get the pieces that you need for Xiao with that one instead of trying to farm a domain. More resin efficient at the end.
I'll tell y'all what. In the live stream, they brought up events, and bro, why are they bringing back Theater Mechanicus again? Like, isn't this like the 10th time they done brought that back?
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
Am I one of the few who don't like Theater Mechanicus?
No, I agree with you. I am not a fan of Theater Mechanicus. But I just don't like it. I respect if someone enjoys it, but me personally, it's not my thing.
Theater Mechanicus boss? Or the event?
The event.
Because I call the Perpetual Mechanical Ray Theater Mechanicus because both of them piss me off.
Yeah.
The event, bro.
I mean,
Theater Mechanicus is way too long. I hate it. It's like 30 minutes for one game.
they did actually.
To this day,
Decrease...
the original Theater Mechanicus is the only event I haven't finished because I just could not be fucked to spend 30 minutes playing a game, and it also happened right after I had surgery, so I was like, oh man, fuck this. That 20 Primogens can suck my ass. I am not spending 30 minutes in here for that.
It's so boring in my opinion. Like, all you do is just put down towers. Like, ugh.
Fair enough. I liked the first one a lot. The second time around, I hated that they added like a ton of RNG to it, so that it was like it didn't feel like there was skill. It felt like you just got unlucky if you lost. This
It
time,
wasn't even skill in the first one.
well, yeah, it was easy, but this time around they shortened how long each round is. I think it's like 10 minutes now, and they removed the RNG stuff, so it's like back to kind of like the first. It's sort of more close to the first version than the second.
I hated the second version for like the first day or two, but after that, once I figured out the cheese, once I figured out what you're supposed to be going to, oh, I fucking loved it. It was so fun. There's one hilly trail coming my way. Yeah, well, sorry about that. I have 1,800 electro pillars and fire, so you're getting thrown all across the fucking map. Suck my dick. Victory is mine.
Well, see, here's the thing for me. I was not around for the first Theater Mechanicus. My introduction was the second one, and I personally did not enjoy it at all. Like, dear lord, for me it was torture, it was pain, it was just, let me look a guide, make it real quick, and just get my Primus and I'm out there. And now that I'm seeing...
For the Primo Gems.
Yeah. So now that I'm watching that they're going to do it again, it's just like, okay, I'm going to wait for the guides, I'm going to just do the bare minimum, and I'm out. Because, again, I respect if you like... Yeah?
Doing Theater Mechanicus again?
Just for the Primos.
So, this is actually going to be my first time doing a Theater Mechanicus. So, I have no idea what I'm going to think of it, but, you know, it might be interesting, it might not be.
It's gameplay rivals watching paint dry.
Oh, I like watching paint. That's the most
the
entertaining
new,
thing.
no, the new event, the newest one they're adding is a parry event. You literally can only play as the Traveler, and you have to parry with his dull blade. No, that is horrible. Who thought of that?
We're gonna fuck that up. Baidu is like super impossible to play on PlayStation because there's a delay when you press the button. So it's literally impossible to get a perfect parry unless you are adjusted to the delay. They're gonna fuck that up on PlayStation. I'm calling it right now, and I'm gonna make a video about it.
I'm looking forward to that.
So
Are they gonna add that like as a mechanic where every character can like parry or something, or is this just like they couldn't think of a real event?
No, I think they're
Mihoyo.
possibly testing like for a boss fight in the future. There like might be a wipe mechanic where you have to parry, and if you don't parry, you wipe. And I think this is just testing to see like how the player base reacts to it.
Thought you said wife. Sorry, how do you parry your
wife testing?
Here's
but yeah,
very interesting. Oh, go ahead, Momo. Go ahead.
I completely agree with you, Flo. Kind of like what they did with the Boksu box in the Onkanomiya event. Didn't they integrate that into the Chasm as well? It definitely feels like they're trying to test different things out. So maybe parrying can be like something in boss fights, like you said, or even something just to like mess around with in the open world. I have no idea. It would be pretty cool if you did a successful parry, you would get those white energy particles. You would get like a couple. Might be interesting, might not be. I'm not sure.
Well, here's the thing. First of all, I do not envy the people that are going to be on mobile, because if we're talking about delays on PlayStation Mobile, they also have some delays and some glitches on their side. And the second thing I would like to say is regarding what you just said, Momo. I think it would be quite unnecessary to get energy particles, because at least for this event, if I recall correctly, they say they're locking away your elemental abilities, so literally I don't think they're going to give any value to the particles unless they tie up to a certain mechanic, like you get health back from them or something like that, but I'm not very sure about that.
I was talking more about like if they brought it into the open world, so like that became a permanent feature in the game. But going back on the Chasm, I want to talk a little bit about how like pretty the scenery was. Like, I think it's crazy how good it looks. as well as like I'm curious to see how the story unravels on what the Abyss Order has to do with all that, as well as like why are they interested and blah blah blah. And I think in the live stream, I could be wrong, there were like some cutscenes that would cut back to Onkonomiya.
See?
Correct me if I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that makes me think that the Chasm and Onkonomiya might have some kind of link. Like maybe throughout the story, that would explain why the Abyss Order were already there when we got there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm
That-
sorry,
that's,
bro. But every time Dainsleif comes back to the story, I get pissed off because I realize I have to wait 7 years to play this character. So I'm not too happy.
And that's the thing. I was actually a little disappointed with Economia because it made more sense to me to have the Abyss Order doing something in there, and now I'm seeing them on the Chasm. So it brought a little hope to me, seeing that they were cutting back to Economia alongside the Chasm, just like Momo said. So I am genuinely hoping that there's going to be some sort of relation there, because I don't want Economia to be, once again, just a dead area. Soul made this point in one of his videos. He said, every new area is literally bound to die. You explore it, and then it's gone. You already did everything there. So if they're going to be using assets like Economia, I am very happy, because there is so much potential there that can be had. And if they're going to pair it up with the Chasm, then all the more happy that's going to make me.
Not only that, but Enkonomiya is a really badass place. It'd suck major ass if they just one day decided, oh yeah, by the way, we're never going back. Hope you enjoyed it while it lasted. But to your point about two being connected, Chasm and Enkonomiya, I highly fucking doubt that. Maybe, but they, they're gonna be fucking throwing their backs out with a stretch like that. And to the guy, I don't know who it was, I wasn't really paying attention, if I'm being 100% honest. I'm more so like drawing dumb shit on the sketch pad. But the guy who said that, you're pissed off every time you see Dainsleif, well,
yeah.
Just just to make it hurt a little less, you're only going to see him once every year when Genshin decides they're going to bring him back into the story.
Oh my god. I just want to play him, like, bro, I'm so ready to use him, and I know I have to wait 10 years. It's so painful.
Well, you only see him at 10 times throughout the story until then, so it's not that bad.
It gets easier every time.
Like, all I'm saying for Dainsleif is, I'm gonna quit the game, bro, if they kill him off like they did Signora. Like, when they killed Signora, like, I almost never came back. Like, that was like a brutal blow to my heart. So they better not do anything to Dainsleif.
Kind of off topic. Do y'all think Signora's gonna come back?
I think there is actually a pretty good chance that she'll have a revival story because of her backstory in particular, and the fact that she
casts off her mortal body when she goes into the flame form, and the flame form wasn't the one that was attacked in the cutscene. It was her normal form, so she can live without that body. So I don't think she's dead.
Yeah, I think that also there's indications that, like, she's the Crimson Witch of Flames, but when we saw her in the fight, she was the Crimson Witch of Embers, and there's a lot of, like, relevant symbology in her story of, like, the Phoenix and all that shit. So, like, I think it's quite possible. Yeah, I think it's quite possible that she'll have, like, a rebirth or, like, a resurrection kind of theme. Which they kind of have to do anyway, because her original model wasn't playable. Like, they couldn't make it a playable character, because it just would have clipped everything. So if they...
with Scaramouche, people really want Scaramouche to be playable, but dude, have you seen that fucking hat? Man could slice bread with that bitch.
Bro, it's like Kung Lao from Mortal Kombat.
It's a cutter ass looking head.
You know what Scaramouche's E's gonna be? He's gonna throw his hat and it's gonna spin around with, like, spikes. He's gonna hit a bunch of things. like the hat from Mario.
Kienzon. He's gonna use the Kienzon.
All right.
Other than that, is there anything else?
For the live stream and stuff, I don't know. If anyone has any
Only-
final thoughts they want to say before we move on to the next topic, we should wrap
I
up
need-
the first topic.
Yeah, I do. I do have a quick point. Can someone fill me in on what happened in the live stream? Because I did not watch that bitch.
Yeah.
I need all the talking, so I'll let Flo go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Basically
I
just,
was joking.
oh, well, a bunch of events, Chasm, Iato. That's it.
Can I only say it's kind of annoying that they teased Ayato's weapon, but they didn't give any specific stats or what the weapon does.
Just dream. Just go to sleep and have a very vivid, nice dream.
Guys,
Fair
I had
enough.
a dream. I had a dream.
Yeah, a little
Stats are
fairy
gonna be
will
69, 420.
Oh, yeah, they'll probably just post it on Twitter in a few weeks, like they did for like all the other weapons ever.
Yeah.
So,
Kiryu,
Most
do you have anything you want to add? Because I know you haven't specifically chimed in yet on this topic.
You didn't watch the stream either.
Not particularly. I
He
didn't
really
watch
did.
it. Yeah,
He really didn't.
Oh,
I didn't watch it.
okay. Well,
I don't
anyway,
blame them. I'm not trying to stay up until 3 a.m.
fair enough. Yeah, it was like the butt crack of dawn for me. So like, yeah. The next topic.
It is 9
We're
a.m. right now, and I'm in your live stream.
Right. Next topic we're gonna move into is speculations for Dendro. So this is, I already have a whole video that a lot of people have seen in my community, and I think Walrus watched it on stream too. So I've already put my speculations out there. I'm not gonna really talk too much. I'll let you guys.
I throw my dick on the table for this one. I have an opinion.
Right. So can
It's
I
not
be
a
the
good one.
first to say everyone should take a step back and relax on Dendro because of the fact that there are way too many expectations. It's riding way too high. And I think that we already have a baseline for Dendro. We have Dendro slimes. We have the Helitrolls that use Dendro. And all we have seen until this point is how he interacts with Pyro. And people, I feel that they want Dendro to interact with Electro, with Cryo, with some even said Geo. And
If you're
personally, I don't know. I feel that there are way too many expectations, and knowing Hoyo versus Mihoyo, they might not do what we're expecting them to do.
we already know that Dendro has a primary reaction with Pyro, and it makes burning no fucking shit. But when it does come out, the reason why people are so hyped for Dendro, because this is a game based off of binding elements for combat. A new element comes out, dude, that's a big deal. And Dendro, it's either going to do one of two things. It's going to come out and it's going to completely shake up the meta, or it's going to come out and be so underwhelming that it does not affect the meta. And as we all know with Mihoyo, there's almost never an in-between. It's always either really bad or really good. So, when it comes out, I do believe it's going to have a general reaction with primary elements. I don't think it's going to react with Geo or what is it, Animo. I think it'll probably react with the primary elements. It'll leave it at that. It'll do some sort of transformative reaction, like how Electro charges. I don't think it's going to be super overpowered, though. There's no way in hell, because they're not trying to make another Pyro and another Hydro for one-shot teams. I feel like it's going to be a supportive reaction, so people need to, like, gear up their expectations for that. But I've seen Theory Crafters saying that it's going to come out and be, the next coming of Christ, but it's very clearly not. Like, it's just it's going to be a supportive element, 100%. We already know that. So
Yeah.
I have like a really, really copium take, and it's so copium that even I think it's copium. But when I think of Dendro, I think of nature. And just like you said, because of that, I do think it should react with every single element, because when I think of nature, I think of plants, obviously, first thing, and how plants have to go through every single element in their life to survive. They have to survive the heat, they have to survive the cold, they have to survive the rain and the thunderstorms, right? So it should, in my opinion, react with every single element. And I personally would like Dendro to be a debuffer element because we already have so many buffing. Like it'd be cool if they found a way to implement debuffs to the game that were actually effective. That's how I see it.
So this is a theory of mine. It's not true. There's no like, there's no facts or anything into it. Like there's no leaks about this. It's just a theory I had. We know that Dendro has its innate reaction with Pyro.
Mm-hmm.
So you cannot think, unless it's like a one-off thing like freeze, Hydro and Cryo have freeze, and no other element can make freeze but those two. Unless it's like that, maybe Dendro will have its own reaction with every element. If it does, that could really shake up the meta, and it fucking better, because we waited 2 years for it. There's no reason why it shouldn't have at least some kind of shifting meta. And I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can add the two together. Like you apply Dendro and you do some geo, like nature erodes ground. So let's say you have geo on you, and somebody does Dendro, boom, now you're very, very slow, and your HP slowly ticks. So now that you're moving a lot more slowly, it sets up a lot of high DPS comps for, say like you're trying to use an Ayaka burst, so you do the erode mechanic. Well, congratulations, now they're moving very slowly, you can get that burst off. I had another idea like Decay, Electro, and Dendro. When Electric strikes nature, it pretty much fucking kills it. So you can have another, again, like a slowly tick thing. I feel like it should all be like tick damage, but then like some secondary effect that benefits each element. Obviously, with its power scaled down, because you don't want it all to be like burning, where burning is just doing a shit ton of damage. It'd be less than burning, but it add a secondary effect. And I know we have effects that like slow down enemies like Cryo, but like nobody is using Cryo for it slowing down enemies. Like literally nobody. It's so inconsequential. The difference is it's only like 5%. That doesn't fucking matter. I cannot think of a single timer where I was like, oh yeah, fuck man, I wouldn't have won that fight if it wasn't that 5% slow bonus. Like nobody does that.
Yeah.
Well, if
So every Archon, we obviously know that Dendro Archon is the next Archon. Every Archon kind of embodies what that element is main strength is, right? So NTCC, Zhongli Shield, and Raiden Energy. What do you think Dendro's gonna embody? What will the Archon embody for the element Dendro?
Here's the thing. If I may chip in with that, I believe you're right. Every Archon should embody what their principles are, right? So, what we have here is the case where the Dendro Archon is the Archon of wisdom, right? And of all the stats that we have currently, I believe that Elemental Mastery would be the closest that we could associate with it. Like, for example, Electro, we have Energy Recharge. When we talk about Geo, we have Shield Strength. When we have Animal, we have Crowd Control. So in this case, Elemental Mastery could be probably the one that is closest. So I believe that both the Dendro element and most of the Dendro characters will be either amplifiers and supports or debuffers, if in my humble opinion.
Okay, so to back up that idea, right? So the God of Wisdom, right? That's the Dendro Archon. When I think wisdom,
Lesser Lord Kusanali.
I'm thinking, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Lesser Lord Kusanali is their name.
Yeah. Well, anyways, so when I think wisdom, I'm thinking knowing about your enemy and knowing their weaknesses. So I could definitely see it as a debuffer, but also as a multi-purpose like supportive element, like you were saying. So it would have reactions with Pyro for burning. It would have reactions with Electro. It's definitely I can't see Dendro being like this like, hey, look at me element like Pyro. I can see it as kind of like that like standing in the back helping and all that, but it's not the star of the show. It's there to assist.
Yeah. I also had another theory about Dendro. Back in 1.5, when they buffed Elemental Mastery, which was mainly for Anemo, it could also quite possibly be that they also were gearing up and made Elemental Mastery better because that's what they want Dendro to scale off of. Because I think Dendro characters should scale off of EM, but that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah. And then talking about Baiju, I'm pretty sure we can all come to the conclusion that he's going to be a healer and most likely a catalyst user, right? Is there any objections on that?
Yeah,
he
but-
might be a debuffer. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see him as a debuffer too. Yeah, but I feel like Baiju is gonna bring something to the game that we haven't seen. I don't know why. I don't have any thoughts to back that up, but it doesn't feel like we're gonna get another character that we haven't, like, it's something that we've already seen before. You know what I mean? It's gonna. I have a funny feeling he's gonna be like super new, and bring something to the table.
Hey, speaking of a Dendro catalyst, does anyone disagree that the Dendro Archon should be a catalyst? Because it's the god of wisdom. Lesser Lord Kusanali, that's the name, right? Like, god of wisdom. Like, I think, when I think of god of wisdom and the weapon types we have, first thing that comes to my mind is a catalyst. What other weapon type could she be?
Here, let me take a breath of my copium real quick. Scythe user. I'm joking.
Okay, I'm ready.
Look,
Shoot.
You ready?
the only
Yeah.
thing I could probably envision the Archon being is either a catalyst, or if you want to stretch it enough, if you've inhaled enough copium, probably a bow user. Probably, but not very likely.
Yeah, definitely a catalyst user, or, I mean, I really can't see, the Dendro Archon being anything other than a catalyst user, but if they weren't a catalyst user, probably a bow user, like you said, but that doesn't register in my brain, you know what I mean? That doesn't, like, make any sense. But that would be the second best option.
Anyone else have anything on Dendro?
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Right. Anyone else have anything else like to add? Because we could move on to a different topic.
I think we're feeling good on Dendro, or I am. Anyone else?
No, I'm currently talking to Kiryu in another person's Discord server. So no, I don't think I have anything else to add.
Okay. So let's
All I would,
move on to a different
all I
topic.
would say. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I will take this as my absent. Now that we're moving on, we'll make it nice and clean. Maybe next time we do a podcast, I can come on when it's not 1 o'clock in the morning, and I can actually talk in a normal voice and not my raspy ass I haven't slept in 36-hour voice. Yeah, thank you for having me on. I'm gonna dip out.
Yeah, well,
been
thanks
fun
for being here.
Thanks for joining.
Mm-hmm.
A pleasure to have you here, so.
Take care.
Yeah, Dante. Well, of course you would say that. You were my first viewer.
And with that, he's out. All right. So the next topic we're going to be hitting is balanced builds versus crit-focused builds. So to kind of open up the topic, essentially, when you're building a unit, there's a lot of emphasis on crit a lot of the times, but sometimes people will make a decision to like equip like flat HP, substats, and stuff like that just because it has good crit rolls on it, and therefore like their build is very crit focused, but it's not really balanced. Like they don't have a lot of stat allocation in things other than crit. So we're going to talk about our opinions on that kind of situation and like what players should be thinking about, or I don't know, whatever we want to say, I guess. Mike?
Yeah. first start off with, we're not telling people don't build crit. Like, no, like that's still like, please still build crit, especially for DPS characters. It's not saying don't build crit. It's more players will only view crit and forget about other important substats as well, and that can sometimes make your build worse.
Lei, are you saying I shouldn't have 50 crit damage on my Zhao build? Well, yeah. Let me open up this one then. I definitely think that crit, obviously very important. You know, big damage numbers come from crit. But also, if you're sitting at like a dirt amount of attack or any other subset that you need for that character, it's definitely time to start leaning a bit towards that more. Crit isn't this like shining like, okay, this is the only thing I need for this character. It's very important, but it's not the only thing. And I feel like people forget that a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like people always stress like crit, 1-to-2 ratio. It's like,
yeah,
well, yeah, I got this 1-to-2 ratio, but I'm also at like 800 attack.
Right.
So,
Personally, I am guilty in a certain way of doing this. This is a game that you really need to know how to build a character properly, because there are so many elements that come together, and crit damage and crit rate are only one part of the entire puzzle. And for example, you might want to build your I don't know, your Hu Tao as best as possible, but you have only a good defense stance instead of an HP stance, and that defense stance has crit rate and crit damage, but he does not scale with HP, so you're going to be hurting yourself more than helping. Sure, you have a healthy ratio, but the problem is you're not helping the overall build. And I understand that that's very tied to RNG, so it's a pain. I think that when we talk about Genshin, we're always going to circle back to RNG one way or the other, but it's a very, very delicate thing to build a character properly. Balancing the stats, it's something that takes time and patience, and that's something I would always recommend. Have a lot of patience and endure.
Yeah, real quick, I know we weren't supposed to do this, but I see Final Flame in chat. I just wanted to shout him out real quick and say thank you, Final Flame, for tuning into this. It means a lot. And I also saw him bring up a point that I was actually just about to bring up, and how people will argue against this point and say, just use Bennett. Well, there's only one Bennett. You can't use him everywhere, right? Like, you just can't. So you'll have people who will neglect HP for HP scaling characters, or attack, and EM, and even energy recharge for just crit. Like, I've had a player come to me, ask for help in our server, right, Flo? And one time he was telling me which artifacts he should use, and I told him to use the goblet that had more energy recharge. That goblet only had 20% crit value. The other goblet he had over 32, I think it was 32 or 33% crit value. But the value he was getting from the attack percent and the energy recharge on top of the crit value was so much better in that specific situation. And like, that's what we're just trying to basically say. We're not saying crit isn't important. It's just that you got to remember other characters, especially DPS, especially if they rely on reactions, they need EM, and they still need attack percent, or the thing that they scale off of, right? Whether it's defense or HP as well. Like, you can't just forget other stats and only do crit, because it could actually end up hurting your overall performance.
Yeah, actually a great example is my Yanfei. This is just bad artifact luck, but she's running a 4-piece Wanderer set. She has 400 EM and 75 156. It's like amazing ratio here, you know, like wow, so much EM. she only has 1,000 attack, and so if I don't react and don't crit, my damage is poo-poo. And I would actually be doing more damage if I just allocated, like, if I took 200 out of EM and added that to attack, I'd be doing way more damage.
Yeah,
I
like my
have
Yeti
to-
is very similar. Like I literally just recently, I think a week ago, put her on an energy recharge stand that had really good substats, and it dropped my attack by like 400. But the team I'm using her in, being able to use her burst every rotation instead of just every other or sometimes every other 2 rotations, it's made a huge difference.
And in my case, I just would like to remind all of our viewers, don't get too frustrated because this is basically tied to RNG. This entire game will always be tied to that random luck that you might have or might not have. So take your time and be patient. But remember, you have a very supportive community that will always be there to encourage you until you reach that gold standard that we hope that you get.
I don't really have much else to say on this topic. Is there any other? What about you guys? Anything else?
If you use Ito, forget everything we said. Crit. Like just crit. Okay, like I
Is
don't
that
even
directed to me?
No, don't even look at defense percent. Just use Goro. Just use Goro. Just crit. All right. But if you're not using Ito, think about putting other things into substats as well.
Wait,
Yeah.
was that directed at me or what's going on here?
We're gonna move on.
Okay, so next topic. I'll let I don't know. I'm kind of stuck between these two. I feel like what we just talked about is sort of similar to this, so we'll transition into this. This is probably gonna be super fast, and then we'll move into a different topic. But stacked versus cracked. Basically, like when you build a unit or a team rather, people often, like I see people like they build a Hu Tao team and they spend 3 months in Crimson Witch and their Hu Tao is cracked, like actually cracked, but the rest of their team is running level 60 weapons and they're not max ascended and their talents aren't leveled, and for that reason they're not stacked. Like, and you can't just be cracked in Genshin. Like, to do Abyss and to do the hard content, like, you actually need, like, a full, well-built team. Even though early game, when you're just getting started, you know, you can just run one unit, and it's fine. But when you start hitting those higher levels and get into Abyss, it's a lot harder.
Hey, Flo, this is not to interrupt you, but I don't think you have the updated topic list.
Yeah, wait, what?
Because that's the 6th topic.
What do you-
That's the second to last
I
topic.
skipped one because we kind of already. I mean, I'm kind of winging it because.
Oh, okay. I was just
Yeah.
making sure that we're like on the same page.
Yeah,
So-
it was pinned, so I just grabbed the pinned picture that had the topic list, and that's what I'm using.
Okay, I see.
So, I actually want to chime in a little bit on this topic. So if anyone has Genshin open, I would like you to look to the right of your screen, and you will see 4 characters. If this game was based on hyper investing in one character, you would probably only have to use 1 or 2 characters. It's very important to have a variety, or a variety. I can't even say that word right now, but anyways.
Variety.
Variety. There we go. But like let's say with like the Hu Tao example, if your Xing Cho is running like a level 50 sacrificial sword, then like you're obviously missing out on damage, and like if his talents are on level 2, that's even gonna hurt you more. It's very important to put in a lot of time into your sub DPS, especially the main ones, or like ones that are in a lot of teams like Zhang Ling, Xing Cho, Bennett, because like with I don't know, like let's say you hyper invested into your, I'm just gonna go with Hu Tao again. You can only use like Hu-Tao teams and stuff like that, there's only a limited amount of comps you can have. But if you build into your sub DPSs, your supports, you can move a lot of those characters into a lot of different teams around other main DPSs. So it's very valuable to put a good amount of time into your supports and your sub DPS. And that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I have to agree completely with what you're saying. This game was meant to be played like a team. You have 4 slots of characters. You should use them. The fact that most people only will think that their hyper carries will carry them through everything, it's unrealistic because innately all characters have their cons and their pros. Let me give you an example. You, for example, have Noelle, an excellent unit, especially if you have her at C6. But the problem is, she cannot do everything. She cannot generate a lot of particles for herself. So even though she can do a lot of things like healing and attacking, she cannot survive on her own. And you will not be able to clear everything on your own. Of course, I'm talking about Geo because obviously I'm a very Geo-centric type of guy. But you could apply this example to any other characters, and that's the main thing. You cannot rely only in one character and hope and expect that character to carry you through everything. You have to invest properly on every single unit that you're going to use in a team and expect great performance from all of them if you properly invested in them. My advice, just like Momo said, invest on your units. Try your best to give and show them the proper love and support, and you will see that there is a lot of value to be gained not only from DPSs, but also from supports and from sub DPS.
Yeah, like both said, we shouldn't stay too long on this, because this is actually becoming less and less of a thing. Maybe if we would have started this podcast, months ago, this would have been more of a topic. But I think with Kazuha and Shenhe and other support characters getting reruns, people understand to invest in their team for the most part.
All right, yeah. Yeah, I think it's like early game when Genshin first came out, you could clear Abyss with just like one cracked unit, like just Venti, and it's like, okay, I'm done. But, it's getting harder. The game is scaling up. We're getting further into we're leaving the starting areas and getting new enemies and new mechanics. So, yeah, I mean, it's just kind of how the game works. Next topic we're going to move into is, can you really 36 star the Abyss as a light spender or free to play?
Yes.
Yeah, the short answer being yes. The long answer, in my opinion, being yes, but it just takes more time than someone who spends more money than you.
This is really not for veterans, people who have been playing since the beginning or dang near the beginning of the game. Like, so many free to play and low spenders who have been playing for so long can now clear the hardest content. I've even seen free to play players be able to max the hardest events such as Vagabond and Energy Amplifier. So it's not really for veterans. It's more lately I've been seeing more new players saying that the power gap is too much in Abyss and that they'll never be able to catch up. And it's just like, bro, like, please calm down. It's okay. We've all been there before. You're gonna get there. You just gotta keep going. You don't wake up and just be able to do it. You gotta persistently grind your account away so you can get there.
Yeah, for sure. I think if anyone that plays regularly and pays attention to it, if you focus on your units and your builds and you grind them out, you can see them getting stronger in the Abyss. Like, you can come back the next cycle and get farther. Like, I think that there's marked progress. It's just that for people, there's primo gems involved. And for that reason, people get really, like, freaked out about it. Like, they don't want to miss out on that, because what if that's the the wish that gets them the 5-star they want, right? But like Primo Gem budget, out of all the total Primo Gems in the game, Spiral Abyss is a total of 8%. And that's all of Spiral Abyss. So if you can do 9 and 10, which is pretty easy, then you are only missing 4% of your Primo Gem budget, which is like nothing. Like it's very little. So it's not, I don't think it's worth as much stress as people put into it, you know?
Yeah, I completely agree. And with Abyss, what Lei was saying, for example, it's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to wake up and immediately be able to 36-star Abyss. A lot of it is having the characters and like building them up over time, and eventually you'll be able to hit that mark. But it does take dedication. It does take a lot of time. Like for instance, when I only had Kitching as my first 5-star, I couldn't even get into floor. I couldn't even finish 8-3. But over time, now I'm sitting around like 11-3, 11-2. And again, to reiterate, patience is with Abyss. And I feel like players get kind of discouraged because it feels like it takes so long to finally be able to go through this. But it's like, it's meant to be hard. It's meant to be challenging. And while it kind of sucks that you have to like wait so long to get certain characters to be able to do this, do Abyss, it's just about dedication and patience, to sum it up.
I would recommend just don't compare yourself to anyone. This is not a race that you're doing against any other players, so take your time to build your units, and don't compare yourself to anyone or any content creator that you're seeing that they can 36-star the Abyss. Don't compare yourself to any of them. Do it at your own pace and try to enjoy the game. It's not a competition, so just be happy and enjoy it the way that you want to enjoy it. That would be my advice.
And also remember, it might just be a skill issue, because if you play Kaching cleared this, but Dante C2 cracked C6
no.
Ito and C6 Goro can't, it might just be a skill issue. So you might just need to get better at the game.
Oh no, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to me?
Respectfully, buddy, to the one person looking through the computer screen, if you're sitting with a C6 5-star, and you're having trouble with Abyss, it might just be a skill issue. Like, I know I already said this, but it's meant to be difficult. It's meant to be difficult. So don't get too worked up if it takes you a few tries.
Yeah, I would actually say that if anything, it should be kind of like the skill issue thing shouldn't be like demotivating for people. For me, when it's a skill issue, that's like, oh, that's something I can fix by playing better, by learning, by getting better at the game. But if it's a stat issue, you're screwed. Like, if your artifacts aren't good enough, there's nothing worse than realizing you don't have the DPS. Like, you just don't. Like, it doesn't matter how good you play, you're screwed. But if it's really a skill issue, you know, that you're struggling with a certain mechanic or whatever, or just your rotations or whatever it is, you can get better at that. And I know for me personally, like the first time I 36-starred Abyss, it wasn't because my units got stronger. It was because I kind of had a breakthrough in tryharding, you know, like I just really tried hard that time and pushed my way through it. Now, granted, I did have good enough stats for it, but like, I think there's a YouTube channel where they get on people's accounts and they run Abyss, and these people like can't 36-star Abyss, and then the person who gets on their account will 36-star Abyss with the same builds. They won't swap anything.
You talking about Zajev?
You mentioned it to me before. I haven't seen any of the videos.
Zajev is a streamer on Twitch. He does it all the time. He'll get on people's account for them who cry and say they can't 36-star Abyss, and then he'll do it with his eyes closed. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, I know there's like RNG to this game, and that is a limiting factor, and sometimes that is the case. That yeah, it's the RNG holding you back, but like there's also a lot of times where you could just play better.
Dude, we were actually talking about this earlier before the podcast started. Do y'all think the events where it's boss rushes and like the bosses have millions and millions of HP and super hard conditions, do you think those are better for the community, or the events where you have to fight hordes of mobs at one time? Which one do you think the community truly enjoys more? Because you always hear people say Genshin has no end game, and then Mihoyo will give you events that are somewhat difficult to clear. And usually when I see those events come out, I see more negative than I see positive, and I'm confused because it's kind of like I hear the community ask for harder stuff, and then when Mihoyo gives it to them, they complain.
I feel like harder content is bound to make people upset, right? Like, I know Kiru was in VC when I was trying to do Abyss with my Ching, and like I was getting kind of worked up. But yeah, I feel like people will say like, oh, you know, I want this, but at the end of the day, that's, you know, not what they really want. Like with what you were saying with mob content or boss content, personally, I prefer boss content because a lot of the time it's very skill based, right? You have to dodge these powerful attacks. You have to work around these mechanics, like with the Abyss Lectors and the Abyss Heralds. You have to find a good unit to break their shield or whatever. Compared to mob content, where it's like, okay, let me pull out my AoE unit, insert AoE unit here, and go unga
So
bunga.
insert Kazuha here.
I believe that in a certain way, the thing is that the community is very big, and some members of the community might like one thing and others might like another thing. But if we look at the past patches, one of the things that almost everyone enjoyed and liked so much was the Labyrinth event with what was it called? The Shikitai show, was it? Yes.
Yeah.
It was that.
That event was really cool.
Exactly, everyone liked it. It was challenging enough, and you could make it a little more challenging to you, or you could leave it at a reasonable pace. And in all honesty, it wasn't tied to resin, and that's one of the things that the community needs. Something that won't be tied to resin. Why? Because most of the content, most of what we have come to expect to be on our daily Genshin routine is all tied to resin. So the community needs something to play constantly, be entertained, and not tied to resin. It's not only about the difficulty, it's about the consistency of how many times can you play it, and is it going to still be entertaining and fun to you in the long run or not. So when we talk about endgame, I think we should keep all those factors in mind.
Okay, but now I have a question to you. How do you do that? Because let's be real here. Genshin is not the only game in the world that has quote unquote dry end game. Like I feel a lot of gaming companies are trying to figure this out, because they could give us something like the Labyrinth, right? But guess what? The players who want to play this game 24/7, they're gonna get bored with it within a few days to a week. So do they add something like that and they just update it every week with new stuff inside of it? Like, what do you do?
I think actually that's a good thing to bring up, especially because you brought up these events and how everyone like rags on them when they come out. Like, I think the best thing the community can do is give Mihoyo really, really accurate constructive criticism. Like, not just like, I know these surveys are kind of a meme and everyone just like types like Papega stuff in there, right? But like, let's be honest, every time they come out with an event, if we all hate it, and they're using that to test for end game content, like let's say that Labyrinth event was a test to see like, does the player base like this enough? Because I do think that the game was so popular on release that they didn't expect such a big player base, and now they're kind of at a loss of like, who are these people that like really like this game so much they want to play it all the time, and they're trying to figure out like what kind of content will last a long time, will work well with the player base, and that everyone will like. Because like you said, if they just release like the Labyrinth event as it was a week, and then everyone's bored and everyone's, you know, dead game, no content game kind of thing, back or like right back to that, and the only real fix for that is for them to come up with an event that's satisfying enough, that's, you know, good enough, kind of like I've been playing Lost Ark, and they do have good end game content that's fun and repeatable, and not all of it's progression based, and that took them 2 to 3 years to come up with that. Like, it took them a lot of time and testing, and honestly, community feedback. Like, Lost Ark has developed a lot from the community feedback, and I just think that trolling Mihoyo is a meme and it's funny, but at the same time, it could potentially hinder the development of the game in the long term if almost everyone writes in their surveys something random that's not helpful. Then like, what information are they getting about what the player base actually wants? Like, they're not reading Twitter. They're not reading your personal Twitter feed. I'm sorry, you're not that popular. No one cares. And it's just a fact. Like, they need the feedback. And I don't know. I'm kind of rambling at this point. I'll let you guys hop in.
Yeah, but like with the way Genshin's enemies are designed, I just feel like, what could they do? Like, I feel, what could they do to make people not make it feel stale? Because let's be real here, Genshin's co-op is a joke, and it completely limits you from playing the game how it's meant to play. Like, I remember in a video in the past, this guy brought up, when you're in co-op, you'll lose over half of your buttons. Like, you lose so much control. You go down to one character in a 4-player co-op, like, you lose so much. So I don't know what they could do.
And also, Lei, I figured out, I had a revelation. And I figured out why you were saying why you hear so much negative feedback about events. Maybe it's one of those, or actually it is probably one of those situations where people who like the event aren't going to go on Twitter and like praise it, you know, the majority. Some might say like, oh, you know, I really like this event. But the people who are mad about it are going to say something. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I completely agree with what you were saying, Flo. It's definitely important for us to give like good feedback to Hoyoverse, because that's the only way that the game's gonna get better. If we like type in the box whatever, like, oh, you know, trash game, get better, more primo gem, it's like, okay, dude. But yeah, that's about it for me.
Cool. Okay, so we're way off the original topic that we were on. Does anyone have anything else to say about this particular topic? And then from there, I think it's actually about time to kind of move into a more open-ended discussion, and I think we can bring in chat now and like take chat questions. If you guys have any super chats you've been holding on to ask questions, or if you just want to ask in chat, we'll be reading. You can ping people. Oh wait, yeah, you should. I don't know if everyone is in the live stream itself, like, or anything, but you should be able to ping me if you have a question. So you can just ping me and I can ask the question. So anyone have anything else they want to add before we jump into that?
Nah, man, we're good. Another shout out to Final Flame. Like, I've been watching him since the beginning of Genshin, basically, and
yeah,
it's crazy that he's here. Like, it's an honor, bro.
No, it is an honor. I've been seeing you chatting like pretty regularly, and I do appreciate you being here. I am also a fan of your content. I've been watching you for a long time as well.
Yep, same here. Big fan, final. So it's great to have you here.
Yeah, with that out of the way, let's open it up and, you know, chat if you have anything specifically. All right, here we go. I see one. Jess says, "You guys be having podcasts about Genshin PR and how they deal with their audience?" Yeah, I mean, that's definitely going to be a conversation topic regularly, I think.
So I don't think this is a question, but it's a comment from Vaughn. So he says, even if half of the Genshin community gave the same feedback for, like, example constellation toggle, Mihoyo doesn't read it and would rather fix a random thing like farming meat in a teapot. So how I visualize it with the data that they give out in the surveys, I see like a pie chart. So okay, this the total amount of people who took the survey, and then this percentage said they enjoyed this event. I feel like they definitely look at those numbers. So that's definitely a area where they can spot if the community really dislikes something or if they really like something to integrate it more and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you got one?
Someone asked me to show my my flow build. Oh my god, my Kazuo build.
Your flow build.
Yeah. So I did Kazuo and Shenhe are my only C6 limited. So I do have C6, but I farmed like crazy for these artifacts. So 700 EM, 7140 Jade Cutter. So next question. Count Saki, what do you think about Iato being a possible replacement as an on-field DPS for Zinchu in the national team? I think that his on-field application is going to be stronger than Kokami's, if not as strong as Kokami's, and that's really good. So I think that reverse vape comps have a potential for him, but I know people want to use him in like forward vape comps, like with Hu Tao or whatever. That's what they were kind of hoping for. I don't think it's going to work that way. I don't think his ICD is going to be very good for that, but maybe in a reverse vape comp, maybe that. Anyone else have anything they want to add to
that? Nothing for me, but I see something in the chat for Dante here.
Oh, really?
Dante, are you keeping an eye on the chat, or do you want me to read it out for you?
Please tell me. Well, what?
All right. So it's from Rixo. It said, they said, to the guy that said he couldn't clear Abyss with Ito, what's your build?
Okay, so by all means, my build right now it's not Ito. The problem is not Ito. My Ito is running 76 crit rate to 250 crit damage. It's C2 with Redhorn, and I have a full Geo team on it. The problem is the second team that's not allowing me to complete the Spiral Abyss with 36 stars, and I'm hoping that soon enough I can get Kazuha to fix or tweak the final adjustments to that second team. So I'll get there, but yeah, I'll get there.
C2 Ito with the red horn and a C6 Goro. Shaking my head.
Listen, Dante, you'll get there.
Sounds like jealousy, Lay. Sounds like jealousy.
So I'm jealous of a man that can't 36 star. Yeah.
Because of my second team. I'm telling you, I'll get there.
Have an excuse.
I see something from Crystal Calendar. They said, what about a potential Kamisato sibling comp? Hopefully Ayaka and Iato work well together. I can definitely see that. I can see some interesting, some interesting freeze comps and different stuff with the both of them. And I feel like it would be a little off if they didn't work well. They kind of have to, if you know what I mean.
I believe Yeah, I believe it's actually going to be a very viable comp. If you look at Ayato's burst that we saw on the live stream, it's very, very similar to Ganyu, both on the area of effect and also the amount of hydro that you might be able to apply. So with Ayaka, I think it would be a very well invested team. So yeah, people in composition very soon, I think.
Yeah, you guys can keep
You don't-
going and engaging with chat. Someone co-opted me.
Yeah, I'm watching it. To fill air a little bit, off of Genshin stuff. Anything interesting happen in your guys' day? Anything exciting? I'm gonna take that as a probably a no, but I mean I just played Tarkov with some buddies. You know, had a little bit of fun. Been chilling all day. Super excited to be on the podcast again. Thank you to Flo and especially Kiru. Love you guys.
Oh man, I'm the one just.
Yeah, and Lay for sure, and Dante. You know, I'm really happy to be here.
It's been an honor to be here with all of you guys. Also, before I forget, Arixo has a very interesting take on Ayato. He says, I feel like Heart of Depth or Gladiator would be better than the new set for Ayato. That's a very interesting take on it. So, Arixo, we are looking at your chat, and it's a very interesting take on it. What do you think, Lay, Momo, Flo?
So here's what I'm thinking, right? If you already have good Heart of Death, it's like with the Zhao artifact set. If you already have a good Heart of Death and Gladiator, then you should probably go ahead and use that. But if you literally have not sat in Heart of Death like me, the new artifact set would probably be better because it's tailored towards him. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of meant for him. And just for any new people who came in, right now we're doing a Q&A. If you have any questions, you know, any interesting takes, feel free to put them in chat.
Mm-hmm. In my case, to answer Arixo, I believe that the problem with the new artifact set, like I said before, it's the RNG that's tied to it as a mechanic. So by far, I think that just like almost everyone said, you would be better off with consistency over a gambling artifact set. So I would think so that it's better to get something that's guaranteed. So yes.
And I see something from Kabir, who's one of my good IRL buddies. Thoughts on DPS Barbara?
Funny that you
like
should mention
DPS... Yeah, I feel like DPS Barbara is pretty unique. It's definitely interesting to say the least. I haven't tried it myself, but I've been pretty eager to do a little trolling, you know, with Barbara. Anyone else here have any thoughts on DPS Barbara?
Well, I can say that I've been trying to build a DPS Barbara with a healthy crit rate and crit damage ratio, so I am a believer in DPS Barbara.
So I see another one from Vaughn. My thoughts on the new my new thoughts on the new Zhao artifact set is it will let him run an ER Sands and forego an Animo battery. So I actually completely forgot to bring this up during the podcast, but I feel like people stress way too much with Zhao. Like, you need an Animo battery, you need an Animo battery. But like, if you have a character running like a Favonius weapon, or even someone like Bennett who just generates a lot of particles, you really don't need an Animo battery. Like, I used to use Sayu as an Animo battery, but then I swapped over to Bennett since I have a lot of energy recharge, and I basically have 100% uptime. So, yeah. The new set, definitely super hyped for it.
Yeah, it's really situational, I believe. Depending on what your substats are, you might want to keep your current artifact set, or you might want a new one. I do believe it's very situational.
Flo, you probably know more about this than I do. XS says, I'm building Jean as a sub/healer. How much crit and ER should I aim for? Abyss purposes and all.
Oh, okay. For Jean, I would actually recommend to get the 4-star craftable from Inazuma, because it's one of the best weapons for her in the whole game. It's so good for her. She has a passive talent that recharges a bit of her energy, like 20% when she casts her ult. And then the passive on the 4-star Inazuma craftable, you don't even have to hit an enemy with it. You literally just have to cast her E to get a stack. And at 3 stacks, you will get back like 75% of her ult just from casting her ult, which is insane. And it's also an attack scaling weapon, which is good for her healing. So I would get that weapon, maybe 110, 120% ER, and then just focus all on crit. Just all on crit and attack. Like, you want to buff up her healing, and you want to buff up her burst potential at that point.
Have a very good night, Anime Galaxy. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you to everyone for stopping by. It's been super fun. I see one from Kiru. Hold on. I lost it.
Oh, Final Flame has a question for all of us. Who is each panel member's favorite character?
So I am a Eula simp, and I know that's gonna trigger Soul. I'm glad he's gone because he said he hates Eula. But she's my only C6 R5 character. I went all out for her. Until this day, there's still not a character that comes close to her for me personally. I just love Eula. I love Eula so much.
You know, I don't have a favorite character, but I have a character I really hate, you know, one that grinds my gears, and that's Zhao. No, I'm joking. Of course, the guy with the Zhao profile picture likes Zhao. But, yeah, if you watch, one of, or the most recent, Showcase Your Build video, it was my Zhao, and I talk a little bit about, why I like Zhao and all that, but he's definitely, by far, my favorite character. Very close in competing with Venti, but, yeah, super cool character. And, Dante. What's your favorite character?
For me, that's a very complicated question because in general, I fell in love with the Geo element, and there are many Geo characters that I absolutely enjoy playing with. But if I were to sum it up, I would have to say that it's between Zhongli, Ito, and Geo Traveler, just because it was my very first character that I triple crowned. And yes, I triple crowned the Geo Traveler.
You know, I was surprised seeing your build, Dante. I didn't have many thoughts on Geo Traveler until I saw that, but it really showed me that he is pretty viable. And if you put in the time and effort, he can be really good. And on a completely side note, I think it would be pretty cool next time if we set up maybe a Google Doc or something for people to post questions, either before or during the podcast, so we can just look into that and do it in order.
Oh, I think that's a great idea. That's a really good idea. Yeah. We'll try to have that next time. My favorite character is Kazuha. Second favorite would be Shana. Yeah.
Also, XS, I absolutely love Noelle. She's an amazing character for me.
Let's see here. Thank you, Sanzu, for the $5. Said, please help me 36-star Spiral Abyss. Just kidding. Just wanted to say I enjoyed the podcast. Thank you so much.
You know what? Speaking of which, Hiru made a feedback form that we should probably post either at the end or right now. It's up to you, Flo. I can put it from here. I just posted it in the chat again, so you can just copy that. But Kabir talking about building a cryo DPS Zhongli. Yeah, I saw a video on that. Definitely very interesting. I've been wanting to try that.
I have seen that video too.
Let's see. Someone asked, Chosen One asked, what do you think of self-burning comp to proc the Zhao set effect on characters when Dendro comes out? I'm not gonna lie, I don't think that set is ever gonna be viable on anyone else unless they have a very similar kit to Zhao. I know you can proc it with self-burn potentially, like if you have someone who applies Dendro and then you run Benny, then you have a self-burn comp, but you just might want to get some ice for that burn and move on to something else.
Yeah. I'm trying to find some good ones. Oh, I see one from Stony. Can you see Genshin ever being able to do realistically some kind of raid where teamwork is actually necessary? Personally, I can definitely see that in the near future. I feel like it's a very good possibility, for sure, because how this game is set up, it's very even in like your own single player world, it's very like character motivated. Like you can't, not that you can't, but it's a lot more difficult to clear the game with only one character compared if you were to use all 4 of your slots. So if they were to tweak co-op a little bit, I don't know exactly how they would tweak it to work. I can definitely see some raid content working out. Anyone else's thoughts on that?
Yeah, I actually wanted to add to that last thing with Final Flame question, but I was too indulged in my phone texting. I'm sorry, I'll make this real quick. I just want to say also, Hu Tao is also one of my favorite characters, and it's a big reason to Final Flame, because when she came out, he's a big reason why I got her, and I have a welled out Hu Tao. So thanks, Final Flame. You made me drop a lot of money in this game.
Well, gaming.
I just want to acknowledge one of the comments that XS did. I have it. No. Where was it? Oh yeah. It's sorry, Von Jolly Vima Yuga. That Xiao Seta Noel is literally La Latina from Konosuba build. That's a very good reference there. I enjoy that one.
Oh shoot! Wait. We totally forgot Kira's question a little bit back. I forgot to read it off. That's a big part of answering questions, reading the question. Kira said, can an auto attack Kaching with Yunjin, Iato, and the new Ayato artifact set be a good team? I can see it in theory, but we really can't tell until we get those numbers, you know what I mean? See how it actually works in game.
For sure.
I am not sure how to pronounce that. Divla? That's what I'm gonna try. Do you guys think Scaramouche will ever be playable? I think for sure. I think that Mihoyo would be missing out on a huge opportunity if they didn't make. Yeah, if they didn't make Scaramouche playable. Senora. Well, I don't think they're gonna pull another one of those, But guys, Senora isn't dead, okay? She's gonna come back, but like as of Albedo's like clone thing in 2.4 was it? She's not dead, guys, I swear.
Who's your copium provider? I need some of that good stuff.
When I watched that cutscene of Raiden slicing Signora, she didn't just hit Signora, she hit my heart too. That hurt. That hurt for days. You don't know how much that hurt. Like, I almost teared up, man. That's how much that hurt. So, I'm really hoping to bring my girl back, but I know, like, it's big copium.
We have a question from Erotic Walrus. Welcome, Walrus. What are your thoughts on Hoyoverse releasing Venti 2.6 before the Kazuha rerun?
They're gonna sell Venti again. What they're gonna do is they're gonna bring back Venti content, and even when they have Kazuha come back, they're gonna still make sure it's Venti content, so people who pulled on Venti's reruns still feel like they got value out of him. That's what Mihoyo is gonna do. They're gonna literally just make the Abyss Ventiable again, and make people feel like Venti's back to his old self.
Me personally, I am more excited for Kazuha than Venti. If I have to choose between one or the other, because I am a budget player, I will have to go for Kazuha. So even though I was expecting to see Kazuha on this patch, I am in a very calm place right now because it gives me more time to save for Kazuha.
Yeah, so I'm a big voucher for pull for characters you want, right? So I'm gonna hope to get Venti, like, regardless if I end up not being able to get Kazuha, but it's definitely a very, like, it doesn't fit right kind of with the banners, you know, you have Iato and Ayaka, you know, the two siblings, and then you just have Venti as like that third wheeler, just being like, hey guys, you know, I'm here too. The one Mondstadt drunk bard just chilling in the corner.
Yeah,
yeah, super exciting to see Venti back, and hopefully Kazuha rerun soon, please, to dear God, I want him so bad.
Yeah.
hopefully.
I've heard mixed responses from the community. Some people already have saved for Kazuha, and so they're mad because they're like, I've got my polls ready, like, I'm ready. But then there's also another group of people who are like, I'm not ready. Please, thank you for this, you know, patch. There's some people in the community who still want to save, and for that reason, I'm not hearing many people say, oh no, Venti, I'm not ready. You know, most people that want Venti have been saving for him. Kazuha is still a little bit of a newer fad, and so I think him being later on isn't too bad of a thing. Yeah.
And if we ever miss any of your questions to anyone in chat, feel free to just like give us a heads up or something. I'm trying to stay on top of them, but we're definitely a few for a few minutes there. Not seeing a bunch of them, but
Well, I see Lingon, Venti Wanter here. Saved up for him. Well, I genuinely hope you can get Venti, so good luck on your pulls, and if you're on a 50-50, I hope you win it.
oh yeah, best of luck to everyone on your 50-50s. I have pulled Zhongli and Yai and Raiden back to back now, or you know, won my 50-50. So I am a little bit nervous coming Venti's banner. It might go badly. Then I might have to become a wallet archon. We'll see though. We'll see.
Yeah.
Oh,
We did miss one question. Dean said, is Ayaka C2 worth it? I would say personally, no. Because if you like her and you're using her, like if you don't have Ganyu and you like Ayaka and you just want to invest in Ayaka, then over the course of time, then yeah, like every time she reruns, maybe grab a constellation if you can. But I think that it's like her C1 doesn't add that much value, and for other characters, their C1, C2 is like game changing for them, like a really, really big buff. I have C0 Ayaka, and she smacks. Like, she slaps an Abyss. Like, it's not... It looks cool. C2 looks really cool, and it's useful sometimes. But it's not as game-changing as some other constellations.
This is a bit off topic a little bit, but I think I told you this once. I had a buddy who didn't know how to build his Ayaka, and she wasn't doing a ton of damage, so he told all of us that she was mid-tier, and it like hurt my soul because she's so good. We love her.
Ayaka C2 is really good, but it's only really good in certain situations. Because there's times where the extra blades on her C2 will completely miss. Like, completely miss and just go past the target. So you gotta use it in the right situation. But when it does work, it's amazing.
I have a very interesting question here from Frey. Let's say if you are on guarantee, would you use it on Ayaka or Iato for the fun aspect of it? Now, this is a very interesting question. Who would you
Wait,
use your
Who
guaranteed
you
on?
asking this? Who are you asking the question to?
Everyone here on the panel, I believe.
Everyone?
Yeah, I believe this is a question for all of us.
Because there's so many Hydro supports, I would personally say Ayaka, but that could definitely change in the future. So like right now I would say Ayaka, but it could potentially change in the future depending on how the game state goes. But right now I would say Ayaka.
So
It's go ahead, Momo. Go ahead.
all right. So Frey, I know you pointed out for the fun aspect of it, right? From what we've seen on Ayato's kit, I think he looks very fun. It's really just up to personal preference. Like, if you really like his, let's say, his normal attacks, you know, the teleportation things, then you might want to go grab him, but if you really like the way that Ayato's burst looks or how it feels, then go for her. Either way, you're going to be happy with whoever you get. It's hard to say, though. You know, everyone's account is different. Everyone
Wait,
enjoys
but
different
what
things.
I don't like to put it like that though, Momo, because when he asked that question, it's more like he's asking which one would be better over, like, because let's be real, if you're just pulling for husbando or waifu, you don't have to ask that question. You're just gonna pick whichever one you think looks better, right? But if you have to ask that question, then you're basically asking which one's gonna be better for my account. And I think that really depends on which characters you're on your account.
Well, they were talking more about for the fun aspect of it.
Oh,
like,
they were hear that part.
Yeah. Like, whoever was more fun, but it's hard to say right now because, well, Ayato's not out yet. But
Yeah, I didn't hear
yeah.
that fun.
Yeah, in my personal case, I am still very unsure of how to answer that question because in one hand we know what Ayaka can do, so literally you have a guaranteed very good DPS on Ayaka, and we already know how to build her, but we don't know a lot about how Ayato is going to work with a lot of teams. We still need to test him, so I would be very fearful to use my guarantee either way because I don't want to miss out if Ayato is such a good unit. So, man,
Yeah, you got people who are scared to pull Iato because Ayaka's in the next patch, and Ayaka has proven herself time and time again to be super strong. So it's like you got people who are just like, okay, well, Ayato will get a rerun. It might take a long time to figure out what he's truly best out. Like now, it could be day one, right? And people figure it out and be like, okay, he's best used like this. But he could be one of those characters like Child, and it takes a long time to figure out what he's best at, right? And it's like, why do I skip a character that has proven itself over a character that hasn't? And you know, Ayato's gonna eventually get a rerun. So that's kind of how I see it.
right side, there's at least 20 days that you can choose if Ayato is going to be worth it for you or not. So you do have a window of opportunity to decide. So whatever your choice is, I genuinely hope that you would be satisfied with what you're choosing.
And
Oh, yeah.
I see a pretty... Oh, sorry. Okay,
Oh,
I see
I
a
was
pretty
just
good
saying.
one.
Go, Momo, go.
Okay, sorry. I see a pretty good one from Remsurf. Wait, yeah, Remsurf. They said for those who have already had a fully built child, is Ayato worth pulling and switch child artifacts to Iato, or should I just give Iato?
Oh, oh, uh,
I'm going to have to sit this one out.
well,
Lay.
if
Hey.
someone who uses child all the time, I'll be honest, if you're pulling Ayato because you love the way he looks and you think he's gonna be fun, then go for it. But if you're pulling not child, if you're pulling Ayato because you think he's gonna be a better child, they're either gonna be on the same level, or I see Ayato being just slightly below him. I have a hard time seeing the way Ayato's kit works, it being strictly better than child, but obviously I can be wrong. If you have child and he's fully built, I would say go for Ayaka. But that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, they have different use cases. Specifically, you have to focus on the fact that Iato has off-field application, which you kind of have to know that every time a character has utility, they trade something for that. And like, for instance, Child's big ult, which can do a lot of damage, especially with reactions, Iato does not have that. He's probably gonna have no way to do big hits other than his normal attacks, which probably won't be big hits. They'll probably be like pretty good damage, but more like Child, where it's like driver damage, you know, like you'll use it in electrocharge comp with Iato on field to consistently apply hydro and proc the reaction. But I just have a hard time believing that he's gonna out DPS Child.
Yeah, I agree. I have a really hard time seeing Ayato on field doing more damage than Child on field, especially in an AoE situation. But if you're looking for someone who's more off field, then I would give Ayato the edge. But if we're talking on field, I just don't see Ayato outclassing Child, especially in an AoE situation, because Child's Riptides are one of the best, if not the best, AoE scaling thing in the game. So that's just how I see it.
In my case, I'm not giving an opinion because I don't use a lot of Hydra units and I don't have Child, so I'm sitting this one out.
Same with me. I don't want to say anything that I would rather talk about stuff that I know about than pull stuff out of my
Yeah, if you guys ever give any advice on the Geo element, by all means, I am more than happy. I'm delighted. I have been playing Geo for almost 8 months, but outside of Geo, I might not be the best option.
Hey, they do got a good point in chat that Ayato is literally Tomioka from Demon Slayer. They got a good point. They got a good point. Hey.
Water breathing.
They got a good point. That's a good point. Child can't do that.
So
Water breathing, 11th form.
Wait, it seems like people were still confused with our voice. I'm Lay 7. This is my voice. Dante talk.
Hello, my name's Dante, and this is my voice.
Yeah. Momo.
I sound like a prepubescent teen. Shoot. I hate to read this one out because it hurts my soul deep down. But Kabir said, Momo, I heard that you get quite a bit of kachings. You want to share that story? I don't know if you guys here know about this, but for every 50/50 and every 5-star character I've pulled, every character from Standard Banner, I've only got kaching. I have no Diluc, no Mona, no nothing like that. Only kaching. So I have her C3.
Nice.
C4 coming soon.
Oh, Stony just threw massive shade at Dante. need a tip on Geo
Nah,
element,
nah.
don't.
Tony, why are you breaking my heart like that? Why?
Oh,
What did I
Oh,
even
no.
on chat? People start bullying me. What have I ever done to you guys? Why do you do me like that? Why do you do me like that?
Flo, I'm sure you'll definitely have something to chime in a little bit on this, but Ark said, "Is Kokami worth pulling for at this point in time? She seems very interesting to play, and I'm not sure whether or not to pull her or save for Ayato and Kazuha."
Yeah, she's a fantastic unit. It's like you have to think about supports like glue. Like they're like the glue to many parties. They're not the flashy on field, the one doing all the damage, but there are a lot of teams now where Kokami glues the team together and provides like Zhongli level survivability as well as really good hydro application. I think she's a strong pickup, really cheap to build. Like you can build her with Thrilling Tales or Prototype Amber, and you can get the clam set and triple HP if you want, and you don't have to hyper invest in her for her to do her job. And I think that that's really valuable as a support. Like Kazuha is an amazing unit, but you have to figure that you need an Iron Sting and then you need a 4-piece VV triple EM with at least 800 or 900 EM. That's a lot of resin. That's a lot of resin. Whereas Kokami, when she came out, I spent like 400 resin on her original artifact set, and she's only doing like a couple thousand more damage now. So it's like I think she's a good investment for sure.
Kokami is what I call comfy, but not necessary, right? There's a lot of characters in the game, and they're going to keep on making more characters just like them, where you have Kokami, Shinha, and Yunjin. That's like the top 3 I can think of off the top of my head, right? Where Yunjin is comfortable because now you can replace Bennett in a Yoimiya team, and now you don't have to stand inside of a circle. You can take a Bennett buff for your Yoimiya anywhere you go. Kokami, there's plenty of hydro applicators in the game. We're about to get another one at Iato, but Kokami is comfy. You don't need her, but she's super comfortable. Same thing with Shinha. Now you don't have to worry about putting your substats so strict into another cryo sub DPS such as Kaya or Rosaria. You can just throw straight attack on Shinha, and she does the same thing. She does her job. Super comfortable. So I really like that design, making characters more comfortable than power creeping. You know what I mean? Because other characters can still get the job done. They just might not be as easy or comfy to use.
Flo, I'm pretty sure you see that. Do you want to call that out, or do you want me to?
Oh, the super chat. Sanzu, thank you for the
Yeah.
$5. You have been chosen by the Queen. You don't pull catching, she pulls you.
That's official now, Momo.
That's true.
Oh yeah.
And if Sanzu is in the stream, your chances of getting catching on a 50-50 loss is like 80-20.
Yeah, I've definitely started to embrace it. I kind of want more catching cons now because it's funny. It's a meme. Like in all of them, my groups and stuff, I joined VC and they're like, "So when's your C6 catching coming?" It's like probably next week.
I remember when I got my catching. That was on the Ito session pool. I remember correctly. I am trying to build her with a very healthy crit rate and crit damage ratio, but I will definitely need some more time for it. But she's going to get some love. She's going to get some love.
Look at chat on Discord.
Oh. Okay.
I'm gonna change the song before I go crazy, because I'm starting to go crazy. Okay. Yeah, I think we can kind of officially wrap up. You know, I mean, if you guys if chat's still vibing and we're still vibing, and you guys want to hang out and chat more, I think we're okay to do that, but I would consider this the end of the first successful FlowFam community podcast. So
give us a rating, 1 out of 10. How horrible did we do?
Yeah,
We kind of just went into this thing winging it. We knew it wasn't gonna be perfect.
yeah, Chad, if you can give us something out of 10, that would be Pog.
So, yeah, Flo, you can always also link Kiru's or feedback form too. If you guys filled that out, that would also help us out a lot. I think there's an area where you can suggest new topics too, stuff you want to see. So yeah, it's been a blast, but I'm probably gonna head out here soon in a bit once we close off.
Yeah, I'm pinning the feedback form to the chat right now. We got a 69 out of a 10. We got a 77 out of 10.
Nice.
8 out of 10. 8.5 out of
Did y'all
10.
really like it? Like, did everybody really like it? Bro, like, I was just pulling stuff out of my ass. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, bro, this is going to fail. Did everybody
No.
really like it, bro?
It's this.
I was. Sorry, go ahead, Flo.
Oh no,
Sorry,
you
sorry.
can go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was so afraid that perhaps my accent would have been a little troublesome for people to understand, or perhaps, I don't know, I sometimes get a little confused on words, so I was very afraid, and I thank all of you guys, because I want this podcast to be something that you enjoy, and thank you very much for having me here.
Hey, man, I'm gonna get going here soon. My cripple self, but we thank y'all. We didn't know if it was gonna go good or not. We're gonna be doing these 2 to 3 times per patch. We'll come up with the next date here within the next few days, and we'll be right back at it. And we're gonna try our best to have guests on whenever we can. I know we already have Final Flame gonna come on one time in the future. Don't know when. We've been talking about it, so we're gonna get Final Flame on one day, and we're gonna get Walrus then one day as well, and we're gonna also try to get even more guests in the future whenever it's possible. It's not gonna be a guest every time, but it'll be whenever possible. We thank y'all again, but I'm about to head out. Anything else you want to say, Flo, before I head out?
No, you guys can all trickle out. I'll be the last one because I gotta wrap up and stuff. So you guys can all say your goodbyes.
Yeah. Huge thanks again to everyone who stuck from the start to the end. Love you so much. Thank you for listening to me ramble on about my opinions and thoughts. Very cool. But yeah, literally just as you said that we hope to have Walrus on at some point, I was about to say, like, Walrus reveal when? Walrus guest appearance?
Yeah. Final Flame said we're being a little bit late. We're gonna definitely work on that. I saw that complaint a lot that we just did it so late. We're gonna have to fix that. So that's definitely something we got fixed. Flow. People don't seem to like it when it's really late. So
Yeah.
we'll fix that.
We picked this time just because Walrus was streaming and we wanted to catch a raid from him afterwards to have the first podcast have like a pretty strong audience. But yeah, if you guys are willing to tune into these podcasts regularly, we can do them at a better time for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think that's about it for me. I hope all of you have a very good night.
Thanks.
Hope to talk to everyone soon.
See you, Momo.
Yeah, I also want to thank everyone for...
I love you, bro. So you're a real one.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so happy that we got to meet Soul of an Artist. Shout out to him. Final Flame. Final Flame said we have to bring Valk, and Valk is also one of my favorite YouTubers, so that makes me so hype as well. Thank you for that. Walrus, thank you for the first raid. We're gonna definitely try to make this a better time, so our guest and our community that wants to watch can watch it at a better time. But I'm heading out. Love to everybody. Dante has a C2 Ito and can't 36 star the Abyss. And
Hey.
see y'all next time.
Yeah, I also want to say it was a pleasure being here, a pleasure seeing everyone, and I hope you all enjoyed the podcast. Thank you to Flo, thank you to Soul for being one of our guests, and yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you everyone for being here. Have a wonderful night, and yeah, bye bye.
See you, Dante. Shout out to Potato for the fun co-op session. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching the stream too. I appreciate you tuning in. Good to have you. Welcome to the FlowFam. And yeah, I think with we're pretty much that's pretty much the end of the thing. So why is my Discord thingy frozen? Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm just gonna wrap up. Thank you all so very much for being here. I loved this. This is probably my favorite thing I've ever done as a Genshin content creator so far. This is gonna be for sure continued. Gonna love it. Gonna do more of it. Couple quick channel things. Just shout out to the theory crafting section of my channel. If you guys need help building units, need help building teams, we have very knowledgeable people in our Discord, friendly as well, willing to help you. You can apply for one-on-one sessions. You can apply for just a quick chat. Like whatever you need. Because I do account reviews, but obviously I'm busy, and that can take time for me to get through those. So if you don't want to wait 3 and 4 weeks for an account review, or even longer potentially, like get on that. Kiryu is one of the main people helping with that. He's incredibly nice, so do not be afraid. He will not bite you. Yeah, I mean, shoot, that's it, everybody. Thanks so much. And as always, stay healthy. Stay hydrated. Peace, everybody.